We don't really make a product. What we're marketing is you.
Did you face any issues in needing to market trust to the customers?
It's all about building trust. That's the key. And that's the kind of marketing like you can't buy. Word of mouth.
And in terms of your online marketing channels, has there been one that has worked best?
How come we're not getting any leads through Instagram? It's like, well, nobody's on Instagram to look at plumbing.
Any marketing mistakes that you see other home service companies make when trying to attract customers online?
I'd rather have 3 views that led to a call than 30 million that were just views. It doesn't matter. We want to be authentic. We want to be what you see on TV or on our website or wherever is what you actually are going to get when you call. As corny as it sounds, that is why people pay us at the end of the day. We help them out.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. This show is brought to you by the Global Talent Company, a company that's connecting top remote professionals from Argentina, South Africa, and Latin America with leading tech companies worldwide. So if your team is looking to hire world-class South American or South African talent, just head on over to theglobaltalent.co and see how we can help. And today with me here, I have Ryan Reese, Marketing Director at Mechanical One, a renowned home repair and maintenance service provider in Central Florida that is known for its high-quality service since launching in 2021. So, how's it going, Ryan? It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, it's going good. I appreciate the invite and happy to be here.
And okay, Ryan, so that we get a little bit more into the topic of the podcast, would you tell us a bit more about your experience as a marketing director with Mechanical One, what exactly it is that you guys do for anybody that isn't aware of what is home repair and maintenance, which is pretty self-explanatory, but just to give a bit of a deeper insight.
Oh, for sure. So Mechanical One is a air conditioning, plumbing, gas, and electrical company here in Central Florida, like you said. And Mechanical One started in the new construction industry. So we would work with home builders where, as the properties are going up, that's when we're doing the installs of the air conditioning, the plumbing, the electrical, before anybody is dwelling inside of the residence or even in the neighborhood. That was started in 2021. And then I came on board a few years later to be the director of marketing for their new residential repair and installation division. So this is just for one-off service calls. Your thermostat isn't working, your AC went out. This is when you just call us and we come out and do the repair, or we'll do a new install of a new unit, or we can, of course, anything electrical related or gas line related or plumbing related, we can do that as well. I was one of the first team members for that division. And then we built out our sales team. And then, we had new experienced residential technicians because they can be different from the new construction, especially when it comes to customer service, because the new construction techs, really don't deal with the customer. The home builder's the customer, and they're working in an unoccupied home where, versus a home service that we provide, of course, dealing with the customer or the homeowner is 90% of the actual job. So it's been about 2 years now since we started that division. It's really taken off. We have the right people in place doing the right things. Of course, a lot of that has come from the marketing efforts that we've done. And so as marketing director, I basically oversee anything with the logo on it, I say. But we started off with what we called the Red Phone campaign. And so that's an icon we have. I actually have it behind me there. And so, yeah, you can see this is the Mechanical One Red Phone. And so we would say when your home's in the red zone, call the Red Phone, because we partnered with Scott Hansen from the NFL Network show NFL Red Zone.
Okay.
So he was actually an endorser who was in our TV spots. So we shot commercials with him. And then we got those on the air. So I was in charge of that full production and then also buying the media time and the airtime to get it on broadcast, streaming, radio, streaming audio. And then, of course, all the other things every other home service company does, like Google Ads and reviews and online reputation management, SEO, maintaining our website and all that. That's basically, in a nutshell, kind of the history of it and what I do.
Wow, that is so cool, man. And I love the little punchline. If you're in the red zone, call the Red Phone. It even rhymes. It's amazing. And Ryan, from when you were telling me a little bit of your background, I did have one question pop up, which is, I understand then that you are more in charge of the residential maintenance division rather than the new homes.
Correct. We have a whole separate sales team that handles the acquisition of home builders like Lennar or KB Homes. We have a whole separate sales team that does their own, golf tournaments and wining and dining and relationship building. And so they got that covered. That was the thing. Mechanical One like kind of dominated the Orlando market when it came to that. That's when they were like, okay, we're ready to expand in a more residential arena where, of course, living in Florida, the competition is very high with air conditioning, the heat and everything. It was tough, but I have my whole career is specializing in home services marketing. That's how they got a hold of me. They thought that I'd be the guy for the job, and so here I am.
Nice, nice. And in terms of how you told me that, yes, having the maintenance person or the installer go to a home when it doesn't have anybody in there versus when you need to go into the residential place that has the family dwelling within the property. Did you face any issues when needing to market trust to the customers as they're inviting strangers into their home for repairs? Did you need to provide any type of, I don't know, certification or validation that this is a good person that's going to go to your house and help you out?
Customer trust is like the number one thing, especially after like the COVID era. People got comfortable with like kind of distancing themselves and literally not letting people into their homes. So now that we're past that, it's everyone kind of had to come back to that normality. Trust is one of our number one values that we have. I mean, it without it, we kind of don't have a business. We do all the normal things like background checks for our technicians and making sure their driving records clean to drive our vans and all of that. We're also big on getting reviews, not just for the company and the service, but also for them. So we encourage them to like, hey, have them mention you. And I tell them all the time too, like, guys, like, we don't really make a product. What we're marketing is you. And you're the one that is literally going to be face to face with the customer. You're the one entering the home. You're the one performing the service. And then, however your experience goes with that homeowner, you can end up building a relationship with them because they like you so much that they will request you, and we request you back. We've seen that a lot where it's like, hey, I think I'm due for my biannual maintenance, and I think it was Raphael who came out that one time. Is it okay? Can I see him again? Can he come? Because he was fantastic, and that's what we aim for when they're mentioning the technician by their first name. Because I always say when people call us, they're probably not having the best day because they just got home from work. Maybe they walk into a wall of heat and they're like, oh, I just wanted to relax, and now I gotta call somebody and figure this all out. And I also got to do it before my wife gets home because I don't want her to be upset.
And just making things worse, of course.
Exactly. So they call us being like, hey, I need somebody to come out here right now. And so we always got to alleviate that process and that pain point of like, look, when you're hot and sweating, don't worry. We'll be out there. We'll take care of it. Sometimes when we even do new installs, we'll provide these portable units because somebody might be out of air for a day or two. And so we get these units that connect to a window and a wall outlet to where there's at least some central air conditioning happening where, like, hey, you might want to go in your bedroom and, close the door. We got this machine in there. You'll stay cool. We're going to get this installation taken care of. And then you should be back up and running in no time. So it's all about building trust. That's the key.
Wow, no, and I love that little extra step by giving them an air conditioning while the other one is being fixed. It really provides the customer with a top experience of what you guys offer, and it'll make them come back to you. So I think that's really smart, and it's very nice. Like if I were to, it happens to me. I worked in customer support for a while, and it was more online. But when people have an issue, they're not calling because they want to talk to you. They're calling to get it solved. So, and Ryan, I know you mentioned that then you had commercials being broadcasted with the red phone, you had different campaigns, and in terms of your online marketing channels, has there been one that has worked best for you guys that you can say from the top of your head, like, hey, no, yeah, it was really unexpected that TikTok was the driver for conversions for us? I'm not sure if that's the thing, but just as an example.
The one that really sticks out the most is one that I was hesitant of. And it makes sense when you look at it at face value. but maybe because, I'm still renting an apartment, I'm not a homeowner, and I always have to take myself out of my own mind and place my brain and like my brain in homeowner mode. We went on Nextdoor. That's where neighbors basically get together and can ask anybody have a recommendation for a landscaper because I just moved in. I'm down the street and I just moved here. I don't know anybody, and I'd love to have a recommendation. And that's the kind of marketing like you can't buy. Word of mouth. I was just thinking like because we run ads on Nextdoor, and they get some traction, and it's reasonably priced. We get a lot of impressions and clicks on the ads and whatnot. But what's best is when we're getting recommended without having to pay anybody or do anything, where we can monitor a conversation of somebody asking, "Hey, anybody know a good AC company or plumber? Hey, I know Ryan at Mechanical One. He's great. You should give him a call. They helped me back out in 2024, and I would call them again. Here's his number." We had it one time where somebody mentioned one of our operations managers, and listed his personal phone number on there, not even like our office line. The connection was so like less. It was like, hey, call this buddy of mine. Call Tim because he's great. And I always think to myself of like, man, like if I feel like I would want to look at reviews and I would want to look at, I want to mentally qualify a company to come out. But, I think what a lot of homeowners do is that they're so invested in their neighborhood, they're invested in their community, and they trust their community. And therefore, when people within it express, hey, if you want a good deal, if you want honest, trustworthy work that where they prioritize integrity,
Uh-huh.
you should call this guy. Here's his actual cell phone number. So Nextdoor was one of those things that kind of caught me off guard with the organic stuff that we saw coming out of it. And
Okay.
so we ramped up the pricing of the ads because it can retarget back to those people who've expressed our name or other triggers on the platform where
Wow.
they can be remarketed to. And so even if they don't go with that recommendation, at least we're staying in front of him.
Mhm.
And so, but I would say that's one. Of course, we do, all things Google, but Google's so competitive and can get so expensive. And so, yeah, Nextdoor has been enlightening as well. So, yeah.
No, that is so cool, and I've heard a lot from like different country companies in different industries, but it's something that is happening, which is like consumer-driven marketing, which they talk between themselves and they vouch for the brand and they say, no, I love this one because of this and that is more believable than any AI created generic advertising or just any logo you place anywhere. That is very cool.
Well, it's influenced us since then because I was like, how can we take this further? And so one thing that we haven't done it yet, we're going to be doing is, and this is something I've done many times before in my career is what's better than a review and a recommendation is getting it on camera. And so like a video testimonial, but not like the traditional ones. Like these days, people are trusting videos shot, horizontally or vertically on their smartphone. So I would love if just like, and it doesn't require a full production anymore where it's like, hey, Mrs. Jones, we just saw your Google review. Would you be able to shoot a video on your phone and, give us permission to post this or something like that? Yeah, basically a plug, basically.
I feel like even myself, like individually and in my personal life, I fall more for that user generated content advertising of somebody just vouching for the brand or whatever they're using on their smartphone. Like, hey, this is amazing. I would totally do this again, rather than those fully and perfectly produced videos of somebody just like the wind is blowing in their hair and it's like and it's too perfect. Ryan, do you have or do you know or like have you thought about any marketing mistakes that you see other home service companies make when trying to attract customers online?
I think one of the biggest mistakes is being everywhere just because. Like, for example, I've seen for years now home services businesses and owners of those businesses get so frustrated with social media, for example. And I worked at one company. It's funny you mentioned TikTok. He's like, hey, I just joined this TikTok thing and it's so much fun. It's amazing. My wife loves it too. Look at all these videos. And I posted a video, got 30,000 views in a week. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. And he's like, we need to make one right now. We need one. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea because are these people who see this are we're only local in Orlando. Are 30,000 of those people who saw your post local here or all over the world or all over the country? How is it relevant to a local homeowner down the street? And this just sounds to me like more unnecessary work that's gonna go nowhere, and you're gonna get disappointed when we don't see anything from it because right now you're so excited about it. And so even with like Facebook and Instagram and a few others, it's like, you know, how come we're not getting any leads through Instagram? It's like, well, nobody's on Instagram to look at plumbing. No one. I'm on there to look at cat videos and my see what my friends are doing on Saturday night, and look at my friend's band and see how they're doing. The last thing I want to see is plumbing and electrical and HVAC. So let's be where the high intent is. So, for example, like Nextdoor, people literally asking. They're intending to contact one of these companies. Google, that guy at his thermostat, it's hot in my house, AC repair near me. He has the intent of finding us and requesting the service. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being on social media for these companies or even doing ads. It's just, I still think there's more brand awareness. And I think people pour a lot of money into it when it's not relevant. Don't get me wrong. If I had a cosmetics business and I could ship globally, I would be on TikTok with influencer marketing, and I'd be shipping stuff all over the world, no problem. Different model, different market. So when it comes to home services, everyone forgets the home part. And that's like, it's hyper localism is the way to go. So I would rather even sponsor the local Christmas Day parade down the street and build a flow where all those people go, "Oh, I've seen their vans before. You know what? I'm gonna remember them the next time I need one of their services." Where on TikTok, where people are just zooming through stuff and it might not even be relevant. And I don't even care if one video got 3 million views. I'd rather have 3 views that led to a call than 30 million that were just views. It doesn't matter. And so I say, like, don't be everywhere all at once. Where are the high intent people at? And just focus all your time, optimizations, and resources into that because it can actually deliver results.
And the fact is that those inflated metrics, because I don't know, the video went viral because of a song that is sounding in, I don't know, let's say Thailand, and you get 3 million views from Thailand. It's like, guys, we're in Orlando, so it's all good. It's all good. It might lead to something, but I totally get what you mean. And Ryan, how have you guys been able to stand out? Because as I mentioned, like, I know my friends, they are in this type of industry in Central Florida, in Florida in general. Florida is a state that a lot of hurricanes hit as well. So I imagine that there must be a lot of maintenance that must be required. But how do you guys differentiate yourself from other home maintenance brands and other people who are also doing the same thing as you guys?
I think that comes down to customer experience. We made Google reviews part of the job process. It's in the job requirement now for our technicians, where it's just like anything else you do, the review is essential. So one of our Google accounts has 2,500 5-star reviews on it. And so where a lot of our competitors are still in like 300, or they're 4.7, or they're 4.3, or whatever. So that's just one aspect of it. And the way we stand out in other ways is like our marketing. We went to the wall with hiring Scott Hansen to be part of it. We had a Hispanic campaign because, as Central Florida has a large Hispanic population and community. So we actually had Lily Estefan be in our Spanish commercial. And as you know, she's part of the Estefan family. She's had her show on Univision for years now. And so we went down to Miami and shot a spot with her and brought it back to Orlando. So we try to, use familiar faces that people recognize. And the Spanish campaign we did was 100% in Spanish. To make that connection of authenticity is a big part of it. We want to be authentic. We want to be what you see on TV or on our website or wherever is what you actually are going to get when you call. So it's really like we try to be as high quality as we can, but also affordable. Because a lot of people might think like, wow, they have these, big presenters in their commercials. They're clearly expensive. And, we have an affordable maintenance plan. We offer financing options. We can work on people's budgets. It's not that at all. The service is what is supposed to feel expensive, but it's not actually, gonna break the bank for you. So really just quality, authenticity, and doing what we say we will. That's what we strive for.
I love that, and it also I feel it generates a very what's it called, like an organic trust, as we've been saying, with the brand, that the people will be able to just rely on you guys and know that you're not overselling or underselling anything. You can abide to their budgets and whatever. That is very cool. How do you guys manage marketing in terms of seasons? Because I imagine that in winter, air conditioning repairs might not be the main thing. So, do you guys pivot depending on the time of the year, or do you guys just have like a general type of marketing for that?
So on my team, I have a analytics and administrator. She came to me with this, where she took all of our database information and she ran it through AI and asked it all these questions of what is the most popular season for AC repair? What is the most popular season for new installation of a unit? And, of course, we all think everyone's getting their AC repaired during the summer. Everyone's, not doing anything in the winter because, well, they can just open their windows. We were completely wrong because we had so much data. It would take months for somebody to actually break it down in an Excel sheet where we just plugged it into a ChatGPT and it gave us bad. We had an elaborate prompt that we used, but in winter, that's when people are doing a lot of maintenances and new installations because, oh yeah, we can just open the windows for the day or two that it takes to do this. And we ran this thing all summer long, and we've been meaning to update it. We're so glad it didn't crap out during the summer. But now that we have this window of comfort, now we want to be able to do it. And a lot of repairs were done before the summer, not during it, because they were preparing for the summer. And it shows that the homeowner is smarter than ever with the internet and social media and tips and tricks and resources. Now they know all about this stuff, where back in the day, a lot of it was education on our part, and they just didn't know anything about AC. So we're going to tell you when we're there. And I've listened to so many calls that, like, no, this guy knows exactly the type of unit he has. He knows what a SEER rating is. He knows all the technical jargon. I mean, of course, during the hotter months, everyone's running their stuff 24/7 and stuff can break and all that. But it's with the research that we did, we kind of refocused our strategies, and we even did which area received the most AC repairs or this kind of service or whatever. And so
Okay.
now, like, for example, we do direct mail. And so we're going to beat them to the punch next year of, like, we're going to try to predict their problems before it even happens, of this type of season, that area. And then it was the service that they got. They're almost going to look at this mailer and be like, how did they know I was right about the call about this? That's kind of the goal. So,
No, no, that's beautiful, and I feel that's very important in every service level industry, no matter if it's home or if you're just like a waiter. But it's like predicting the needs of the consumer before they
exactly.
happen. That's what sets you apart, because it's like you're
Exactly.
psychic. It's what? How did
Yeah.
these guys know? And Ryan, I know we're almost at time, but I did want to ask you one final question, and it's for anybody who might be starting out with a company in the home service industry, and it's if they had only one marketing dollar, or let's just say a very small budget, where do you think they should spend that and why? Like, how should they go about their marketing if they don't have a lot of budget to maybe bring well-known celebrities or to maybe broadcast on primetime television? What do you think is the most important thing they should be aware of?
So it'd be hiring somebody who's aware of the industry and having them do a very bare bones, high intent search strategy, even if it is just Google or working on the website, to make sure the right things are in the right place for when that person is having trouble and needs help. Because that's all these companies are there to do, is help people. That's no matter what you want to call it, no matter what you want to say, as corny as it sounds, that is why people pay us at the end of the day. We helped them out and got them back up and running or whatever. And so there's no really any specific thing, but I would just say if they wanted leads the following week after hiring this person, and that person knew what to do with a even with a bare. I've worked with bare bones budgets before. There's just so many of these companies that are a lot older. They're from, we started in 1982, we started in 1997. And for example, I saw a younger company recently that's only 5 years old. And the beauty of them was they knew where all their passwords and login information was. They knew where everything was. They knew the language of social media. They knew the language of search. They came into it with the right branding, and it was more modernized and optimized from the get-go, where a lot of these older companies are just, they can't either refuse to wrap their heads around it, or they don't want to, they don't have the money to, or they just think like, this is the worst thing to think, is that, hey, you know what? It's going to be hot no matter what. These units are going to break no matter what. I don't need marketing. These people will call me because they need me. And it's like, again, that goes back to like, well, great. What makes you different from hundreds of other companies that do the exact same thing? And so, yeah, I would just have like a savvy person who knows the industry and can get you started with a small budget is probably the best way to go, I would say.
No, no, I think that is very valuable advice, and the fact that is nobody can do this alone, and it's always better with a team. So if you surround yourself with the right people, then the most probable outcome is that you'll get to where you want to go. And I think that's very important. And before we finish the episode, Ryan, I would love to give you the opportunity to let any of our listeners know if they are in Central Florida. I'm not sure if you guys only work in Orlando or if it's just Central Florida in general, but if they needed to contact you guys now that the winter's coming and if they need maintenance with their air conditioning, how could they actually reach you?
Yeah, so Mechanical One is located in Orlando in Central Florida, but we reach from Tampa all the way to the East Coast in Melbourne. So we're across the state basically, even up to Jacksonville and southern more towards Fort Myers. But we say if your home's in the red zone, call the red phone at 407-404-4000. And then there's also the marketing email, marketing@mechanicalone.com. I answer that email. So we're on there as well. But then, of course, even anybody out there who just wants to see what we're doing, that we're on social media. And so that's Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn. I put out a lot of related content to kind of the things we discussed. And yeah, that's where you can find us, mechanicalone.com.
That's amazing. And I just love the slogan. If you're in the red zone, call the red phone. You know it, guys. It's easy to hear. It has a ring to it. So I know you won't forget it. Ryan, thank you so much for hopping on the episode with us. It was super interesting. And thank you to the audience for tuning in. And I hope you guys keep coming back to learn all the insights of the different personalities that we're speaking to and the different industries that we're showcasing on the show. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.